All right, you guys, we are back for another week of Tai Chi. It's so great to have you here. And if you're brand new, you're in for some interesting stuff. We're going to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some Qi Kung. We're going to do something from our form, and then we will do the form itself, and then we will have some stepping at the end, so that you always have a way to practice to keep your legs moving around the house if you miss your walk in the morning and want to just move around your house in the manner of Tai Chi. I'll show you a different step, so many different steps in Tai Chi and also the other martial arts, but we're just loosening up, and I think it's about 98 degrees here in the dojo, so we'll keep going until I pass out. I'm going to take a lot of water breaks. If I pass out, I promise I will have it in slow motion in the video, and I'm just goofing with you guys. And this is, so what this is, let's do some shoulder rolls. But let me tell you something. Okay, so what we're doing, let's go back to this for a second. I'm sorry. This is the first part of a two-part series on large cat movements like tigers and leopards and things like this. And the form is filled with references to tigers and leopards and the essential. It's interesting to do these animal themes because I hope that you begin to understand the essential energy of what these animals represent. So the reason I mentioned it while we were loosening is my arms are really loose right now, and that's the whole point of this. But this twisting, turning energy is very similar, or it's kind of one of the qualities of the tiger. So I was practicing some movements before, and it really made me want to do this loosening exercise not loose. I really want to do something like this, because this is very tiger energy, and my arms are not loose. They're not tense, but they have presence. So we won't go over strike a tiger, which is what I'm doing right now. We won't go over it in any detail. You could do that if you wanted to. But next week we'll look at all the different references in the form. This week we'll just look at a couple. So anyway, so let's just move on, because I do have things I can show you in more depth. So let's do some nice shoulder rolls. And it's interesting, our form, the Yang 88 San Sau form, when I was reviewing how we do tiger movements compared to other forms, our form is very expressive of the spirit of the tiger. But then I was looking in my notes, and I was reminded of various tiger Qigong, and in this case, the Qigong is even more expressive than our form, which normally Qigong, all the sharp edges are rounded off, and it's simplified to its uttermost simple. Let's go around the other way. It's usually really oversimplified, but in this case, the animal movements in Qigong have retained a lot of their expressiveness and character, and they're just wonderful. So this is a real pleasure for me. I hope that you enjoy these movements as much as I do, and I'm just dying to get through with our loosening up and our warm-up so we can get to them. Let's look up and down. Just do a couple of these, look side to side. We always have to warm up, no matter how warm it is in the room that you're practicing. Just look straight ahead, tip the head from side to side. You guys keep doing that, and I'll take a sip of water. Okay, great. So then there's a movement. I found this great movement. It's tiger climbs a tree. So this is great because we get to really lift up and stretch. There's no equivalent to this in our form, and this is certainly not a martial movement. So why don't we review right now? There's no tension in my claws. It's almost more like I'm just holding a ball. Same thing with dragon movements. And same thing with our punches. We never have tension in our fists. The only time we would have any tension in our fist, or the only time we would, I'm not going to use the word tension, the only time we would squeeze our fist is at the point of contact with an opponent, not an imaginary opponent, a real opponent, and then that's the only time. But when we're doing our empty hand form, or in our solo form, or even our double form, we never actually complete the punch. All right, that feels great. Okay, great. So, so let's do another tiger movement. This is from the 5 Animal Frolics. We may have done one of these before, and you're saying we did this before, but no. Each animal in the 5 Animal Frolics has 5 versions, and the 5 versions are done very differently by different schools, different temples, different sifus, different masters. So you could find at least 10 different versions of each animal. So I just sort of curated some of the ones that I like the best. So why don't we do tiger, circles, and rends. So rending is tearing, okay? And we have rending in our form. I may or may not show you next week if we have time, but we have a movement in our form called pluck and rend. And what it is it looks like the clothesline in football. It's a back of the arm strike. So so plucking is you have your partner's arm pulling down and then coming across like this. So rending would be tearing across. This 2 tangents of force are tearing, right? But in this case, the tearing is with claws, right? So, and this is the only time that I'm going to say we can really articulate our hands. I didn't say put tension, but I mean articulate. If you're new, the orange is my right hand, yellow is my left. It's just to simplify things. So I'm just articulating the joints, and I'm exaggerating the articulation. And there's presence here, but I hope it's not tension. I hope it doesn't qualify as tension. This is really hard to do, to really articulate those joints. But don't do it now. Shake your hands out. I'll tell you when. Tiger, circles, and rends. Remember, rend is tear. So we're just going to be going not totally side to side, but obliquely. Okay, so make a nice circle. Don't make any claws yet. I stepped out, we'll come up to about here. Now you can articulate your claws. And this is a rollback energy, right? Okay, come back to center, circle around. So the first time I do it, we're just getting the feeling for it, so don't worry. I step out, come up to about here, and then just draw your hands back down. So I sink my weight across, circle around. It's a beautiful movement. Step out as far as you want to or don't want to. Bringing your hands way up is not really an option. There's a few things that we can play with, but I think we're keeping our hands at about no higher than the face. Okay. I hate to put it that way. And again, I'm making some pretty good claws when I finally come up to here, but don't really tense your hands, but this is really good for your fingers. You may not have articulated those little tiny finger joints in a long time, right? So this could almost be like finger yoga. I love this. This feels really good. You can slow it down. You can step it way out. You can sink down. Remember, shift your weight back. And in your imagination, not to get violent, but remember, whenever we do rollback, you really have to imagine you're pulling something that doesn't want to come down, right? And that's what gives your movements this nice flow, right? So remember, you're sinking down. How about one more to each side? So I know this is new to us. We've never done this one together. And as we've been saying, I don't mind throwing new stuff at you guys in the videos, because worst comes to worst, you can back up the video and look again. But when we're together, we do a ton of review. And that way we're adding depth to these movements and becoming sort of familiar with them. Why don't we just inhale the arms up, and then, let's gather some energy. I wanted to do this first. So this is something you can do at any time. You can inhale the arms up and then just sort of cascade chi down into your body from the top of your head down. Because we're going to use a few calories today, so you want to gather some energy. Okay, I'm going to have a little sip of water. So the next one is known as Tiger Awakens and Searches for Food. Okay, so a couple differences. First of all, in this circle, when we were doing this this circle, our chi was down, rocking in the bottom of the circle. Maybe that you're imagining your dantian, or just a big circle. So we were so when we came down here, we were sinking. So our mind was down here in the bottom of the circle. When the tiger pounces, we're thinking about the top of the circle. So let's just do a couple of those. I don't know if we're going to do tiger stepping. We'll do tiger stepping maybe next week. But if you remember, without even stepping, it's like this. All right. So without the stepping, it's like this. And so I'm not doing the super articulation of the claws anymore, but they're still rending down, but it's not like a real full rollback energy. So see that sort of pouncing. It's more of a pouncing and it's more of a sinking energy. So since we did it on this side, let's do it on the other side. So this is not the Qigong I was going to tell you about. This is just real standard tiger energy. Okay, so let's see. Tiger awakens and searches for food. So let's come back to the other side, and we'll just put this together slowly. This is a beautiful movement. You're going to love this movement. So let's say I start out with my hands even, and I come out to here, but pause here, and it doesn't matter which side you're on. It's the side that's closest to me or to the camera is going to I'm sorry, it has to be opposite of this foot. So when I step out, let's just figure this out. When I step out, this leg is further from the camera than this one. And then this arm is closer to the camera. This is not a real big deal. I'm just going to pause here for a second to let you get that straightened out. Okay? And then we're going to take it from the top. Here we go. Okay, and then this hand comes down and I look down here, or the tiger looks here, and then here. So beautiful twisting movement. We can do as many of these as we want. We know that the numbers have significance, but I have yet to have a numerologist in the class, so we just do it until it feels about right. And you know what I should do? I shouldn't lunge so far into that. If I really want to lunge forward, I should step out further, right? So I'm violating my own rules. But a lot of people violate that rule who should know better too. So, you know, maybe it's not a hard and fast rule. Who knows? But it's one of the rules I don't recommend breaking. Okay, so what we're going to do is next time your far hand is forward, we're going to have to get over to the other side. So, so let's just come back around, and then we're not going to swing up this way. Let's switch our circle. Okay, so let's. Okay, good. So, and actually I can't remember the transition from side to side, but it doesn't make that big of a difference. Okay, so the closer, so this is my further leg from you, and my closer hand goes back, and look back. So the tiger's searching for food or something. Oh, I'm sorry, the transition is just to come back to center. So there's no fancy transition. The transition on the previous movement was really beautiful. And in this one, it's not such a big deal. So we would just come to here, right? And if we were done, we would lower our hands. If you want to continue on, actually, if you want to start brand new, we can have our hands down here, step out, come up, the tiger pounces. So, so discussing these transitions, sometimes they don't matter a whole lot. Other times they make a really big deal out of them because people turn Qigong into forms, just like our Tai Chi form. And then if it's a form, then everything becomes significant. If we're just playing around with these movements, it's not super significant how I get over to the other side, right? If that makes any sense. But as I've mentioned to you guys before, I don't want to add too much complexity to your lives. I know some of you are barely trying to remember the form and not lose the form. So, so I'm going to step back. I'll do it one more time on the other side. Okay, so step out nice and far so that you don't overextend your knee. But I'm not telling you how far to. Whoops, I forgot. Okay, I got to do one thing. I either have to talk or do my Tai Chi. All right, great. Okay, now I can start talking. It doesn't matter. Oh, I was just saying, I don't want to give you anything else to memorize, right? I just want you to be able to do this along with me, have fun with it, and then just as promptly forget it. If you love this movement, it may drill its way into your brain, and you may just spontaneously launch into it during the week sometime. But if it doesn't make that big of an impression on you, then that means it doesn't really speak to your body, which is fine. And then don't worry about it, because it's just a sampler that we're doing. Okay, and then back to here, and then back down. All right, great. So if you like that one, so you notice I'm adding a little complexity each time. And remember the reason, so as I mentioned, some of this Qigong is extremely complicated, and that one we just did, they might be practically done on the floor. They're especially when it comes from Shaolin or Wudang or something like that. So this one is, this is a Wudang movement. This is Wudang Leopard. It is a little bit complicated, but it's nothing we haven't done before in pieces. So it starts out with a ward-off, and we've done this a gazillion times. Or if you haven't, it's very simple. It always starts out holding a ball. This is like the most fundamental, and this is where this idea of holding a ball in Tai Chi may have actually come from, is from ward-off. And ward-off is one of the 4 fundamental energies of Tai Chi. So it happens to be all throughout our form. And in its most basic form, ward-off left is with my left hand. My left hand's always on the bottom, and this hand is, and then the other hand's on the top of the ball. And then ward-off left, I would step my left foot out. So this happens to be my left foot, and my left hand would just come to here. So sometimes you could drop this hand down depending on what type of ward-off you're doing. It could come all the way down to your hip. And then let's step in. So watch how easy it is to go from side to side. And then in other versions, like in grasp sparrow's tail, the hands stay up here and maybe come around further. But let's not do that. Okay, see if you can still see my feet. I think we're good for like 2 more times. I'm stepping out obliquely, shifting, turning, one hand up, one hand down. Remember, these are these twin planes of force. And hold your ball. You probably can't see my feet anymore, so this will be my last one. Okay, something like that. So, and if I was facing you, it would be something like that, okay? But everybody's a little bit different, and I'm not going to be a stickler on it, as long as you have the basic energy right. So that was a little drill on that. What if we come further around? So in our form, our grasp sparrow's, so when you come further around, they call it grasp sparrow's tail. So in our form, we come way around and we actually step back, right? It's amazing. That's why I'm saying it's so expressive. In the Chen Man Ching form, you just come to here and to here. That's all it is. Whew, that's small. In our form, way back to here. So since we did it on one side, let's do it on the other. Right hand on top, left hand on bottom, step the left foot out, come up. Instead of this hand going down here, it stays here. So grasping the sparrow's tail, if a sparrow landed on your hand, maybe you grasp its tail. It's trying to fly around. Oh yeah, we're going to step back. See how natural that feels to step back? And in our form, we've grabbed our partner. Our partner foolishly attempted to do a shoulder strike, and we divert, grab them, fling them around using all their own energy. We don't. And then we do actually a ward off left. But back to our movement. So we're going to do. It starts out with a grass sparrow's tail, and then it turns into plucking stars. So we've done this Qigong. This is from the Yang coiling set. So remember this one where we're holding a ball and then we just rotate the top palm up and rotate the bottom palm under. And I want you to feel this energy, this S curve, right, that's pulling and stretching. No tension, but a lot of good structure and good pulling through the fascia. So you're not going to believe, okay, so let's come back to here, switch our hands, and then one hand up, one hand down. So you're not going to believe how they combine this. Okay, great. Okay, great. So I have to take another water break. You're not going to believe how they combine those two things together into the leopard movement, leopard of the Wudang 5 animals, right? So again, it involves some stepping, but I don't think we need to step if we start out in a pretty wide stance with our feet kind of bowed out, because it's the last thing we need to be thinking about is stepping, since it's probably the first time you've done this. Okay, so we start out here. You're going to love this. Okay, so this is my left hand, this is my right hand, and we don't need to step out. Okay, so we come around to grass sparrow's tail, and we go way around, and we come back just like one of our teacup exercises, and we wind up in plucking stars, and then pivot your right foot and shift over, and this is our leopard. Oh my God, who thought of this? This is so great. It's such a good stretch. Okay, so I'm not going to take you back the way you came. And we're just going to follow this same feeling. Step in, and then just let the arms circle up, and then wind up with the left hand on top and the right hand on the bottom, right? If you didn't get it right, don't worry about it. Catch up with me now. Left hand on top, right hand on the bottom. Okay, here we go. I'm going to step out here because it gives me an extra stretch. And then, like I say, looks like grass sparrow's tail. You can leave this hand behind and let this hand continue around. It comes around. Okay, this is like plucking stars, and then I'm going to shift my weight to the other side. Who thought of this? Well, whoever thought of it, we can't either complain or thank them because it was a couple thousand years ago. So let's just drop everything down. Step in, circle around. Circle around a couple times till you end up with your left hand on the bottom and the right hand on the top, okay? So step out, here we go. On the other side, we'll just do one more on each side because you guys, if you want to do more, you just back it up and do a few more. Or turn it off, just hit pause if you get the idea. Shift over. Oh man, this feels so good. Okay, release that down. Come back in. last time. Hopefully you're going out to the other side now. Okay. Circle around. So maybe we'll review this sometime once we've gotten a little bit more fluent with it, and we can go really smooth from side to side. Some people like to bring this hand up into the armpit. This is just a smaller circle. I really think this should be a circle. Some people reach out. I don't like that. I think that it needs to stay a circle. Okay, good. If you don't want to do circles, do Xingyi or do yoga. You know, I like to keep as many circles in my practice as possible. Okay, so I saved our balance until we're the most loosened up and the most relaxed. So we'll do a balance and then we'll take a break and come back and do our form. Okay, so so ride the tiger. It just does not look like this in the Chen Man Ching standardized form, but in every form I've looked at, every version of the 88, Yang 88, it's a real Yang form. It's very expressive, and it comes into something like this. So what this is, let me show you. It's just, the right and the left don't really matter now because it's just going to be opposite hand, opposite foot forward, and then there's different things you can do with your hands, but if we were to take this literally, you would be, if you're riding a tiger, you would you'd be grasping onto to its neck, right? So this would be a fist, because we know that this has martial applications, right? It's probably a kick or a strike in some way, and then this hand is, you know, could be coming around in a single whip type strike. So in some cases I've seen the fingertips together like in single whip. Other times the hand is bladed like this, right? And the supporting leg is bent. I hope you can see that. So let's try the other side. So check before you stop. This is my left hand and my right foot. So I'm going to go right hand. So our 88 form has, many people do it with a preamble. In other words, 4 to 6 movements before the first movement, a little pre-thing. And then some people, like me, have found these extra movements at the end, which are just really beautiful. So our very last move, which I'll show you next week, is embrace tiger and return it to the mountain. And that's pushing our partner back, and our partner goes back, and then the form is over. But if our partner at the 88th movement doesn't want to be pushed back, he grabs hold of the pusher, flings the pusher around, you know, capturing their chi and their upward movement, and then unfortunately he does a sweep lotus kick, which raises his chi or her chi, and then they fling him around and he winds up in ride the tiger. So that's how it works. So you'd go here, here, and then end up here. And they do something similar. So anyway, so that's how it looks in our form. But I will show you, I'll show you the other side of it next week. So, so that's enough balance. That's certainly enough loosening, and you can feel this is all loose now because that's that tiger energy, right? And you have a real good feeling for. It's different than dragon. Dragon is bigger and open, and it's not, dragon's not quite as just like get right in there and get like aggressive and compact, but you'll see some of the other things too. So let's take a little water break and we'll come back and do our form. And remember when I mentioned doing our form, maybe you take your break and you don't turn your you turn your device off, and then you try doing your form by yourself until you can't remember it, and then you say, okay, so then keep that part stuck in your brain, and then when I do the form, you'll be able to watch me and you'll pay special attention to that part that you forgot, and you'll notice that what you're looking for is just very simple stuff. It's like, what does he do with his hand? What is that foot doing? Is his weight forward or back? If you can't tell if my weight is forward or back, that's on me. That's because I'm not showing it enough. But look carefully, because I usually am, right? And so my weight's either going from one side to the other, or it's going forward to back. And it may just be the camera view, which makes it hard to see. But this is why we do a different angle each time. So I will be right back, and we'll do our form. Okay, we are back. Oh wait, there you are. Okay, we're going to do our form from a different angle as usual. Any little thing to either make you see something that you didn't see before, or to thoroughly confuse you one way or the other, we'll give it a try. We don't want these videos to get boring, do we? So what we'll do is we'll do the A side. I'll face directly right at you, and then we'll do the B side, and I'll face directly at you. And once we start the B side, I'll go into our infinite loop, and I'll do the infinite loop until one way or the other I leave the field. Okay? So I don't know if I didn't practice this. I don't know if that will be one time around or two times around or whatever, but this will be kind of fun, and I know you guys can't really watch this unless you got your phone with you, right? But you can watch part of it, and that's the whole point. So watch the part that you need to watch and just listen to the part. Yeah, you'll see, it'll work out. Okay, here we go. Okay, relax completely. Sink into the right foot. Left foot comes up, and then the left hand comes up, leading with the back of the wrist. The right hand comes through. But just think of your bones in your arm moving through. Don't think about your fist. The left hand comes around, and we're coming around to reach up to touch the 7 stars of the Big Dipper, and that upward movement, we can use that to step the left foot up next to the right. Hand back to the waist. This is carry hammer, just another punch. And then sink back into a white crane. The right hand replaces the left, and then the left hand can drop down. And then similar to the Qigong we did, this hand can wrap behind the head if you wish, coming through to our shoulder strike. That was white ape swings through branches. So there's a number of applications that use that little detail that I just showed you. So I'm going to step up and over, shifting right, and then shift back left. Elbow strikes the heart, shift back right, ring the gong. This will look familiar. So shift your weight into your left foot. You can either have this planted here or step it around and strike a tiger. Yeah, now you feel that tiger energy. And then strum the lute, play the pipa, and then sink back into your left foot, pivot that right foot around as far around as it'll go, and then pivot and inspect horse's mouth, and then a half step back, coiling the arms down and around, and another half step back with the other foot, coming up into dragon pose. And I'm still barely in frame, so we'll stop here. We'll stop our A side here. My weight's in my left leg. If I want to, I could pick that right foot up. Okay, great. So I'll have a little sip of water. Get ready to do the B side. B-side, and then the infinite loop, around and around until I leave the area, and then at that point we'll stop. So, and again, that's why we do this infinite loop, so that you can learn 8 moves of a form and do it for the entire afternoon until it's a form of a moving meditation, you guys. Sink into your left foot, slide the right foot back, shift back, turning. Now turning back is what creates this entire shape here. Coming up into dragon pose, transitioning into single whip. See how this comes just to this side and then over to that side, and I'm going directly at you. Step around, strike a tiger right. You notice I couldn't get any power into that until the foot landed. This is called pull and push. That was the pull, this is the push. And then this is the shoulder strike. And then pivoting around, draw the bucket from the well. This is the well, this is the bucket. Sink back, another pivot. Step the left foot in and back, just a downward push, no big deal. Roll that left palm under. White snake darts out its tongue. So we're on the A side now. So 7 stars. And you notice after the first time, I go a little faster, talk a little bit less. See if I can point out something different. Okay, so. All right, that's our white ape swims through branches, pivot around, elbow strikes the heart. So I'm trying not to rock here, even though I shift the weight from side to side. Oops, yeah. Strike a tiger, strum the lute. I may have just done a misstep there, but I'm just going to keep going, I don't care. Inspect horse's mouth. Dragon pose, single whip, looks like the B side to me. Strike a tiger, pull and push. Uh-oh, you guys, I think I may go out of the frame. And then shoulder strike. So if my partner's really here, I need to hold their arm up to do my shoulder strike. Okay, and then draw the bucket from the well. Another pivot. Downward push. I just barely made it, you guys. I'm doing it a little more compact, just so we can keep going. I'm back on the A side again. In a different view. 7 stars. Carry hammer. White crane, white ape. So now I'm going away from you. Elbow strikes the heart. Ring the gong. Oh, no. I did this correctly. Strike a tiger. Strum the lute. Inspect horse's mouth. And then, yeah, we'll keep going. B side. Single whip. Strike a tiger. Pull and push. Shoulder strike. Draw the bucket from the well. I'm sorry, I'm going too fast. Sorry. Downward push. See, look at this. This is what, 4 times through? Back to the A side. 7 stars. If you guys are not a big fan of the form, I hope that you fast forward through this. Should I really keep doing it until I come off the frame? Okay. Elbow strikes the heart. Ring the gong. Oh, you know what? I should also specify that once I've done it 4 times, then you've seen it before. So this will be the last time. Okay, so, yay. Okay, good. Yeah, once you've done it 4 times, you go once to each cardinal direction, and then basically I'm not helping you with anything because you've seen it from that angle before today. So let me have a sip of water. And for our stepping today, okay, we're back. If you're fast forwarding through the form, we're done with the form. Hang on, let me check one thing here. Excellent. Okay, so we'll do our stepping for the people who don't like the form, because you have to involve your legs in your Tai Chi practice. If you're a big fan of Qigong, you just can't stand around and do the stuff. You have to move, right? That's so important for Tai Chi. So we do some simple stepping for those of you who are not regularly practicing your form, so you're not getting that, you're not building that leg strength. So this is not going to build a ton of leg strength, but we did stuff earlier that will. We did some low stances, so we don't have to worry about it. But so the tiger energy, remember I was saying that, I'll tell you again. So the tiger, circles and rends, that's sort of the bottom of this circle. Come around. So what's the top? The top is the real tiger energy, the pouncing energy, right? So, and then there's a little rending here, but it's more like sinking. It's not, you're not really pulling back, you're sinking down. And then reset. So pounce. Okay, so our step, and I'm gonna, this can be really oversimplified. I'm going to give it to you about right in the mama bear, the sweet spot, that's not too complicated and not too simple. Okay, so we're just going to come up like this, and then just pick a leg. Okay, come forward, and then step the other leg up. So we're not reaching forward because that would sort of extend our chi a little bit too much, but it's our legs driving our arms forward. So up to here, and then the back foot naturally follows. That in itself may be a little bit of a stumper. Watch me again. So I won't even use my hands. It's just up to here, step the back foot up, step the other foot up. And if you get a little spring in your step, it would be like, okay, like this. Oh, I'll come back here. You can see more of me now. Okay, so I'll add my arms. Okay, so we'll just do this back and forth a few times. So here. Okay, and I may have, when I first did it, I may have been reaching a little bit. What I want you to do is I want all of your arm movement to come from your legs. So what I'm saying is this. So just bring your arms up to here, and then just see if stepping forward doesn't spring your arms out, okay? That's good Tai Chi. Yeah, so that's a good idea. Bring your arms up to here, leave them here, and if they don't come out because of this movement, then don't even let them come out, because it's fake. If I reach, that's no good. I bring them up to here, and they spring forward. They're attached to my legs. This is really good. This is really basic, but it's important, right? So they say, this is so old that everything flowed from this. And this is not an offshoot of like Kung Fu, Tiger style Kung Fu. They say that, some people say that Tiger style Kung Fu came from this, right? From these movements. And but before I mention it, before I forget, these tiger movements, the Qigong, they really get into it more than I choose to. It corresponds to different elements, different parts of the body. This happens to be a wood element, tends towards yin. You can't believe it's yin, but it is, and then it pertains to the liver and the spleen. So that's just a little note for the serious Qigong practitioners who probably already knew that, right? So, so let's see. So you can do more with this, right? So this is a movement you see like in Pao Chui forms where they would like, and I can't do it much because of my knee, but I'm going to go the other side. So, and you can get really into it like that, or a couple. Well, let's just do a couple more. So, okay, you could practice that. You could hit pause, practice that a few times. Well, I'll practice it with you. Okay. I'm not doing it perfectly because I don't practice Pao Chui. And did you see I actually kind of lifted forward? So that's this is what you have to practice to not do that. So you want forward power, but not so much that you continue on forward. Okay, so you could do that. That's one way to expand it out. A way to decrease it would be less stepping and more dantian rotation, right? So imagine the dantian here, this circle, and we were talking about this big circle before, but now I'm talking about a circle that runs up your back, over your shoulders, out your arms, and then down and back underneath you. And sometimes they say it even comes way down underneath you, but you can imagine it here or here coming up. So you feel this circle. And what if I wanted to be more expressive with less stepping, and then reach out almost too far, almost too far. So feel the energy come down, it loops underneath you, it draws up your back, and then you have to step out first. Remember, don't reach. Step first. All right, so this is another way of doing it. And don't drag back, just down, ren down. I'm leaving you guys, I don't mean to be leaving you, but I'm already at the end of the frame. I can tell by my orange pylons. Okay, good. We don't need to go back and forth on that one. If you like that, pause, or better yet, if you like that, do it some other time during the week or throughout the day, right? Especially if your legs are tired. If your legs ever go to sleep or feel numb, you have to stand up and walk around. That's really bad, you guys. And they're talking about the studies of people using their computers are starting to come out only after 20 or 30 years, right? There is something called computer apnea, where people actually hold their breath. They're frozen when they're reading emails and stuff like this because their attention is so focused that their entire awareness of the rest of their body is gone, except for, and they're not aware that their posture is getting worse and worse, their legs are going to sleep. And I'm super guilty of this. This is why I'm slow to answer emails, is that I don't look at my emails, you guys. But anyway, that's just about it. We'll end with our closing Qigong. Let me put my notes away, I'm sorry. And again, it's the same one we always close with. So now, when you do this one, you can gauge, how do I feel? How has this set made me feel? Are my arms heavy? Are they light? Am I tired? Am I elated? Am I have tons of energy? Does this movement make more sense than it usually makes? Or is it baffling? Or don't you like it because it doesn't really have the tiger energy really in it at all? And by doing this movement, maybe now you can see what that tiger energy is, right? So this is just a good, almost a blank slate upon which we can judge other things, right? So our closing quote or proverb, I don't like to overanalyze these proverbs because I'm not an expert in Chinese philosophy, but everyone has the right to interpret Proverbs the way they see them. And the beauty of them is that they can be interpreted in more than one way. So I'm going to relate our closing proverb, since it's the only one that has a lion in it. This is why I'm using it. This one maybe relates more to COVID than to Tai Chi. And so we've been in this COVID thing now for so long that I hope that on reflection, you found at least one good thing that came out of it. And if you've suffered any deaths or losses, I mean, I feel so much sympathy for you, but amid all the misery and anguish, something good must have happened out of this. And I'm only saying that because that relates to our proverb. So I didn't say it. Confucius said it, and he said, a lion chased me up a tree, and I greatly enjoyed the view from the top. A lion chased me up a tree, and I greatly enjoyed the view from the top. And thank you so much for joining me. It's an extreme pleasure to make these videos for you, and I'm glad to know that you guys are still watching them. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone quit their Tai Chi practice, but it seems to be the opposite. People are enjoying it, so that's great. And thanks again. See you next week.